shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait.
Okay, now, from the beginning.
So I'm Ben Frenkel. I'm a product manager at Google, and I focus on applying instant app technology, which was launched a couple of years ago, to games. And we just last week, right before GDC, decided to rebrand everything as Google Play Instant, which just had this amazingly relaxing experience where we had to go through all of our presentations and update the name. It was great. It's the thing you want to do on Thursday before GDC. Anyhow, so we got all through that. So it's Google Play Instant is sort of like the brand, and that's going to be more prominently featured in the future. But I thought I'd kick things off with a demo because, come on, games are why we're all here. And you know, the first manifestation of Google Play Instant is this Try Now button. So if you go to the store, there are roughly like I think 8 or 9 games right now that are supporting it from like the biggest developers out there. We have Jam City, which is a Unity developer. They have Panda Pop on there. We have Bubble Witch from King. We have Supercell's Clash Royale. We've got a whole host of games out there. But this was the one that I was particularly excited about, mainly because it came in hot, like on Friday. Just like the branding, this came in super hot, and but it's a great example of what's possible and what makes Google Play Instant different from other kinds of instant experiences. It's something that you can only do if you can support native code. So you're on the store, and you know, you click the Try Now button, and you know, the game loads up right away. So this is something that's like distinct about Google Play Instant. You know, you click the install button normally, 100 megs downloads, you know, you lose a lot of users every time you do that. And in this world, it loads up in typically like under 3 seconds. You get a sense of what the game is like in 15 to 30 seconds. You don't have to go through, you don't have to worry about cleaning up your system after the fact, because it is a native kind of like, we're trying to achieve what you get with the web, which is ephemeral experiences you don't have to worry about later on. And but this is like a really fun example of what's possible. So this is Zombie Gunship Revenant. It's from a developer, Limbic. And so what you're seeing here is an augmented reality game. And I'm, let me see if I can like turn on the camera here. And yeah, you guys, oh, that did not work. Is that, demos are the best. Oh, there we go. Woo! Okay, so you can see yourself here, right? And like in infrared, everybody looks like a zombie, obviously. But I'm just gonna like scanning the territory here. All right, so I'm gonna like position my amazing base here. So kind of like the setup here is that, you know, I arrive at my base in the morning, and you know what? Of course, everything was quiet most of the day, but as soon as I show up, zombies suddenly start appearing. Fortunately, I can like zoom in and out through the power of augmented reality into like very specific buildings and so forth. I have a sniper rifle, so I can like pick off zombies one at a time. And I have like these twin miniguns to mow down more zombies. And then I have this Hellfire missile, which is like really impressive. Let me see if I can. It's so much fun to blow up stuff like that. It's also a great way to distress after a difficult day at the office. And you know what, like I'm doing a terrible job defending my base, but what I can say, and I'll close it off there. What I can say is that there's just a lot going on in that demonstration. So the first thing is that it loaded instantly. The second thing is that it's built you know, on the back of native code underneath the covers. It's built on AR Core. And these are all things that are like incredibly difficult to do if, let's say, you were trying to build an equivalent experience in HTML5. Native is important. AR Core opens up a lot of different opportunities. And so we're we're pretty excited about the ability to basically say, you know what, you don't have any constraints on the kind of experiences you can create with Google Play Instant. And there are three things that I really want you to take away from today. Like, one is that, assuming I can not block the screen here, one of them is that Instant, we believe, will transform the way games are discovered on the store. The other one is that top developers are on board and already succeeding. And whether you're a big developer or a small indie studio, we believe that Google Play Instant can help you drive adoption of your games, and we make it possible to do that. So, the reason why we are, particularly confident in bringing Instant to games and the transformative nature of doing this is because we've seen this movie before many, many times, whether or not it was Google Search. You might have heard of that. It's a product that some people use to search the internet. And if you look at the research that's been done on this, every 200 or so milliseconds of additional latency has a significant impact on how often people search on the internet. And it's kind of remarkable. There's a couple things that I thought was interesting about this research. Like, first of all, there is a very steep curve and relationship between how slow something is and how many searches are done. But what was particularly interesting about the research was that the effect was persistent. So we ran the study, I don't know how many years ago. Maybe it was yesterday. But they added additional latency to the search queries, right? And when they added the latency, you could see the effect. Then they turned it off. And so the users went back to, right back to their instant searching experience. What's interesting is how the users didn't get back to their normal rate of querying and query volume for like 7 weeks. 7 weeks. It was the exact same speed as before, but for 7 weeks they searched less because it changed their behavior. So there's something fundamentally different about an instant experience when it comes to that. But we've seen this in music, and we've seen this in movies, and we've seen this across other areas as well. Whenever media becomes instant, people consume it more. And I think music makes a particularly good case study because it sort of matches up very nicely with the world of games. And there's been a number of studies that have been done on this as well, and they all pretty much find the same thing. So, like, first of all, when music became instant with, let's say, streaming music, people played more songs, people discovered more genres of music, they were able to explore more unique artists were heard, and people found better matches for their unique tastes. And what we want to do is bring this to games. All right, so like picture a world where people are playing dozens of games at a time versus today where you're probably lucky if you could get people to install a game or two if they had 10 minutes to set aside to do this. And people would explore more categories of games. Like if you're not a big puzzle games fan or you're not a big strategy fan, today there's enough friction in there that you're very unlikely to step beyond the boundaries of what your preferences are. But if gaming can be instant, then you're much more likely to ultimately take that leap of faith and check something out. So doing this for games, we think, will ultimately drive a very different discovery experience. You go into the store, and instead of clicking on a banner that takes you directly through to the details page, you go right into the game. And what we want to do is we want to turn playing into the way that people discover games, right? Today, if you go to the store, right, you're like mostly comparing game icons, game titles. Like these are cool, right? But it's a little tiny picture, and then it's a little bit of text, and that's largely what your evaluation is. And then you click through, and you see more text, maybe more pictures, but it's a facsimile of the experience, right? At best, it's a facsimile of the experience. But what we've envisioned is a future where you play the games to determine whether or not it's a good fit for your taste. And we have, so these are our partners that launched with us the other day. And so we've seen companies across an incredible spectrum getting involved, from like small indie studios all the way up to the big folks. And that's why we know that whether or not you're a big publisher or an indie studio, whether or not you're building like a big game, hundreds of megabytes, or whether or not it's tiny, small, bite-sized experience, we're confident that Google Play Instant will work for you. And in addition to just making the instant experience possible, which is a big deal in its own right, again, we believe that that will ultimately change how people discover games. But we also want to make sure that it's accessible from all the different surfaces that are available from Google. So what I'm going to walk you through now is a set of things that we're offering on the store and that Google is offering that you could think of like a bundle of value you unlock by building a Google Play Instant version of your game. So I showed you Try Now earlier. So this is great, right? You can click on this button here, and ultimately you will launch a great gaming experience from any one of these 8 or so partners. And when we worked with Supercell in particular, they highlighted the fact that they see this as a great way of making their games more accessible to their users. It'll open up new opportunities for discovery and ultimately widen the top of the funnel. And so we've kind of established that this is useful for the big publishers. But what's particularly interesting is the profound impact we had on less well-established brands. So this is Hothead Games. They have a game, Mighty Battles. And what, kind of like, the headline really is that when people land on the Mighty Battles page today, twice as many click on something. So they're either clicking on Try Now and Install. So the way to think about it is this. Let's say this half of the room would typically come to the details page, and they would click Install, right? And this half of the room would, let's say, not be willing to commit to a full install. Think of it as it's a lot of storage. I'm not sure if I have to uninstall it. It's a big commitment. Now, fast forward to the Try Now scenario that you see here. This side of the room would still be clicking Install, but this half of the room is clicking Try Now. So there's twice as many people are interacting and discovering the game. And that had a big impact on their business. They saw 19+% more user acquisitions as a result of just the Try Now button. And that's exciting for them. They're planning on ultimately rolling this out to the rest of their portfolio of games. But this is just the Try Now button, right? This is just the Try Now button. There's so much more that you can do with Instant. So, for example, we have banners that will now launch directly into these instant experiences. So today, if you click on a banner, it will take you to the store listing, and then you have to click Install again. What we want to do is turn banners into a way to jump people right into the heat of the battle, just like this. For people who build a Google Play Instant version of their game, we're also going to be providing an evergreen collection that is curated by our editorial staff so that we provide another surface area for your games to be discovered when there is an instant version of it. And we hear from a lot of our partners that they want to use the Google Play Instant format for ads. And so we are excited to say that in the future, not today, but in the near future, we'll be working with our ads team, AdWords, Universal App Campaign, so that you can actually deliver an instant experience through our ads products. And then there is Google Search. One of the really exciting opportunities here is that when you search for, let's say, Words with Friends 2 in the future, or CSR 2, or other games, you can immediately jump into the gameplay directly from the search results on Android. So that's a really powerful capability as well. And we also have the Play Games app. So this has gone through a significant redesign over the last couple of years, and they've made a big investment in highlighting all the instant experiences. So if you want to find all the instant experiences you've had, you can ultimately always rely on the Play Games app to find those things. And to find new and exciting experiences, you can get here too. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, in my view. And I think this quote from Bernard Kim, Zynga's president of publishing, captures it well. Instant Apps not only widens the Play Store install funnel, but adds a variety of new entry points that you just wouldn't have before. And let's see if I can, maybe there's a video here in a second. So there's 3 key use cases they identified: social invites, social sharing, and cross-promotion. These are 3 things that Zynga identified as big opportunities. And I should maybe be able to play this. This is always a risk. All right. So this is an example from Words with Friends 2. Imagine a friend invites you to complete a turn. You get taken directly into the game, right? You're not going to the store details page when you click on the link that your friend sent you. You go right into the game. The same thing with this example. So this is from Farmville 2. And let's say a friend of yours shared their awesome, well-created, curated farm. When you click through on the link, you're driving right into this experience. Right into this experience, and you're driven to install from there. And cross-promotion, I think, makes another really good use case for this. So you're playing Dawn of Titans, you finish a battle, and then from a cross-promotion ad, you dive right into CSR 2. So we think that these kinds of experiences, going from an ad or a cross-promotion or from an invite directly into gameplay, is going to make these kinds of social experiences that drive viral growth much more effective. And I think I need to click somewhere in here. So hopefully that's given you a sense of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, the kind of impact that's possible. And hopefully you're asking yourself, all right, so this seems pretty cool, right? But how do I build something like this? So what we've done is we've taken the Instant Apps framework and we've made 3 key changes to it. The Instant Apps framework was, as I mentioned earlier, launched, I think, roughly 2 years ago, or announced 2 years ago. And it was targeted towards apps. So we're bringing this to games, and we made these 3 changes. So the first thing is we've raised the size limit to 10 megabytes for games, which makes it just a lot easier for game developers to build instant experiences. We've enabled progressive download. So you don't have to download everything at once. You can progressively download not just assets, but also executable code. And the last one is we've added game engine and NDK support. So very importantly, we have made it possible for you to use the tools that you're already comfortable with, like Unity. It's popular here. Like Unity, to build your instant experience as well. You don't have to have a new tool chain. You don't have to do anything different. You can use your same code base. And the reason why we did this is because games are just bigger. So when we looked at the data over, I believe, like the last 30 days or so, apps are like roughly half the size, or conversely, games are twice the size of apps in general. And that has two implications. Like, one is that it's harder to get people down to the 4 megabytes that the Google Play Instant App Edition supports. But user expectations are just different. People expect games to take longer to download and so forth. So because of that, we felt like it was the right thing to do to make it easier to develop without necessarily turning users off. And most games are built with a game engine or native code. Like, all the data supports this. And what we wanted to do was make sure that we were working with the best partners, like Unity, in order to ensure that people could build their game from the same code base, their instant experience from the same code base. And this is pretty important. So this is a quote from Playtika. And what they're describing here is that since ultimately most of the code is the same as their full APK, almost all the work is just taking things out of the full game. Right? You're not re-architecting your system. You don't have to do loads of refactoring. It ultimately can be a simple, painless process of removing content. So you can create that initial experience like a tutorial or similar. And we are super excited that we're working with Unity. And 60% of apps on the Play Store are built with Unity. And we're going to have an ongoing relationship and an ongoing collaboration with Unity to make sure that these tools are in your hands and that you have the ability to painlessly create great instant experiences with the frameworks and the tools that you were comfortable with. So that kind of wraps up the majority of my talk here. I want to highlight that these 3 things are still the same 3 points that I wanted you to take away from before. Instant has an opportunity to transform game discovery. We think that ultimately, the faster things are, the better it is for the user. We have some of the biggest developers on board, and they are succeeding. And lastly, no matter how big or small your game company is, whether or not you're just a solo player or part of like an enormous team, you can build instant apps. And we're continuing to invest in making sure that we're getting to actually instant. It's pretty instant-y today. So it's, things load up in, 10 megabytes can load up between anywhere 3 and 5 seconds. But we want to get to the point where we can remove all of the latency. And so there's a lot of creative things that we're doing in order to accomplish that. We're working with partners like Unity to make sure that the tooling makes it easy to build these kinds of experiences. And we're continuing to invest in new discovery surfaces so that when you build a Google Play Instant experience, your game will be highlighted in meaningful and important ways that will drive your business. And if you want to find out more about all of this, you can find our collection of instant experiences at g.co/play-instant. You can find a collection of case studies and documentation on the store today, on our developer website. And if you are interested in learning more about this, if you want to sign up and be part of the instant beta, then you can go to this link here as well. And we're not quite ready to open it up to everybody just yet. That will be something that happens over the coming months. But we're really excited to hear about what things you would like to do with Instant. And ultimately, we think that over the course of the coming months, we'd like to bring on more developers so that we can further highlight some of these unique use cases. Because ultimately, it's you, the game developer, that is going to help us discover what the right recipe is for Instant. It's hard for us as the platform to do all of the thinking on our own. It's a team effort. But that's also an opportunity for us to send you the latest news. So that is it. So with that, I know I'm keeping you from drinks and food. But if there's any questions, I can certainly help out with that. Thank you.
Yeah, you said that there was, for people who are integrating this, especially with Unity, is there going to be like a special export, or is it just like, nope, I just made a slimmer version of my app, and I have a separate APK that goes to the Instant, and from my main APK, my main app?
That's right. So today it is a separate APK, and in the we're still working with the folks here to establish exactly what the pattern is in terms of the exporting. What we would imagine, like one embodiment of this idea, would be to have an export option, which would be Google Play Instant, and then ultimately you could use that to create all the manifests and other things that are useful for discovery of your game. But it is a separate APK that you build, and it is a slimmed down version of the experience, and so there's some work involved in doing that. But again, it's not like you have to rebuild it from scratch in HTML5, which makes this version of Instant distinct from other Instant experiences. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all for your time, and enjoy. Oh, do you have a question? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I just wanted to say, hey guys, there's still a lot of food in the back and drinks, so please stop by. We also have an interactive photo booth in the back if you want to take a couple of photos. Super cool. So thanks, Ben, for that awesome presentation.
Thank you.